Hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson. Before I begin, I just want to tell you, I'm sure most of you have noticed that when we're filming, I'm barefoot. And that's because, if the truth be told, I'm barefoot all the time that I'm not in school. I don't like shoes, and even in the dead of winter, I've been known to go outside barefoot. So, I really have the best of both worlds here. I get to teach you, and I get to be barefoot. Okay, let's begin with today's lesson. You'll need your vocabulary folders, and I'd like you to open them up to place value and operations. Find a place where there's at least four blank areas in a row, and let's begin there. So today we're going to talk about number forms, and that goes right along with place value. It's how we express numbers. So the first one is standard form, and standard form is the regular way we write numbers. That's what we're going to write in. The regular way we write numbers with digits, commas, and or decimal points when needed. Okay? So when we talk about standard form, that's how we usually see numbers. So that could be like 37, 20, and 7/100, or 42,008 and 609 thousandths. All of those are the standard form that we write numbers. And then we have word form. Word form is when we write numbers in words exactly how we say them. And I'm just going to add when we say them correctly, because 20.7 would not be the word form of that number. So when we say numbers correctly, we write it in words exactly how we say it. I'm going to put when we write numbers in words exactly how we say them. So 37 would be 37. 20 and 7/100 would be 20 and 7/100. Remember that THS has to be on the end every time we have decimals. So we have the regular way we write numbers with digits, commas, and or decimal points when needed, and when we write numbers in words exactly how we say them. The last one I'm going to have to go into expanded form, but that would be 42,000 8 and, so remember, we always need to write that and when we get to the decimal point. 609 thousandths. Remember that THS has to be at the end. So here you have the standard form of the numbers and the word form of these numbers as well. So then we get to expanded form. Expanded form is the way we write numbers broken out by their place values. So, expanded form is when we write numbers broken out by their place values. Okay, just write a line here so that we know this is where the expanded form is going to be. So we go back up to the top. 37 would be 30 plus 7. 20 and 7/100 would be 20 plus 7/100. That's a little tricky when you get here. You have to make sure you're saying 7/100 because you're breaking it down by its place values. Notice I'm not saying plus 0 ones, plus 0 tenths, plus 7/100. I'm just saying 20 plus 7/100. And now let's try 42 thousandths. Think about it for a minute. What would be the first place value that we would talk about? The 4 in the 10 thousandths place. So that's 40,000 plus 2,000 plus 8. Notice I don't put in these place values because they don't have any amount. Plus 8 plus 6 in the tenths place is 6/10. So I put 0 and 6/10 plus 9 in the thousandths place, 0 and 9 thousandths. So those are the 3 forms that you probably already knew about. This is just a review for you, but I'd like those in your vocabulary notebooks, and then we're going to talk about another form. And this is the one we see mostly in 5th grade. So I'm going to move this over, and if at any point you need to pause it to finish writing this down, please feel free to do that. So I'm going to move it over here. And in the next box, we're going to write expanded notation. Now, very often we use expanded notation and expanded form the same way. So you might see what I'm going to write over here, but then they have it called expanded form. So those terms can be used interchangeably, and that's because in many ways they're similar. In expanded notation, we also break up the number by its place value, but we go a step further and we talk about the digit times the place value. So this is when we write a number expressed as the sums. Now remember, sum is an answer in an addition problem, as the sums of its digits times its place values. Okay, that's a lot of words that probably don't make that much sense to you. So I'm gonna write them here so that we can compare them to these. I will show you again. It's 37 and 20 and 7/100ths, and what was our other one? 42,008 and 609 thousandths. Okay, so let's look at it the way it looks as expanded notation, noting that they also use expanded form for this. So again, this is 37, so it's a 3 times its place value, it's in the tens place, plus the 7 times its place value, the ones place. And that's how this number is written in expanded notation. Now it is fine to write it like this. What I tend to do, and I'll show you again, what I tend to do, even though it's not necessary, I tend to put parentheses around it just so I can look at the digit times the place value. Either way is correct, and often you'll see it this way because the order of operations tells us we don't need these parentheses. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. 20 and 7/100ths. Well, once again, we have the tens place, so there's a 2 in the tens place, and then there's a 7, that's the digit, times the place value, which would be the hundredths place. So it would be a 7, no decimal point, times 0 and 100. And again, if it seems clearer to you when you're starting out, you can put those parentheses around it. And I just really want to call attention to this. It's the digit times the place value. Is how we write that. And there's another way we can write that place value. We can say 2 times 10, I'll leave it off this time, plus 7 times 100. So you might see it like that as well. All three of these are expanded notation, or they can also be called expanded form. So let's take a look at this one. There's a 4 in the 10,000ths place. So that means we would have to write 4 times 10,000. And then there's a 2 in the thousands place. So that would be 2 times 1,000. And then we skip all the way to the 8 in the ones place. So 8 times 1 plus, and this is a 6 in the tenths place. So 6 times 1/10, and a 9 in the thousands place. So 9 times 1,000. We can also write it like this: 4 times 10,000 plus 2 times 1,000. Notice whole numbers don't change. I'm not changing them at all. 8 times 1 plus 6 times 1/10 plus 9 times 1,000. There's nothing in the hundredths place, so I skip over that. So that's expanded notation. And that's the one we see most often in 5th grade. I'm going to give you another one, and I'm going to give you a second or two to try to figure out what the expanded form would be, or the expanded notation, and then we'll go over it. So let's try 63 and 43/100. So think for a minute, how would you write it out this way? Give you a few minutes to think about it. If you're more comfortable adding the parentheses, you can, just so that you can clearly see each place value, but know that it's not necessary. Okay, let's try it. 6 times 10, which you know would give us 60, plus 3 times 1, 3 in the ones place, plus 4 times 1/10. I'm going to write it as a fraction. You know you can write it as a fraction or as a decimal. Plus 3 times 100. And if that's what you got, great job. That's exactly what we wanted you to get. Okay, so I'm going to send you some practice with this, and then maybe try to find a page in your Blue student book, Blue Dot student book. And for those of you that feel like you really have this and you really understand it, because this is the most important thing that we're doing. This part was review, and I hope you remember at least part of it. This is completely new. So I'm also going to offer a video on scientific notation. Now, we never have to do that in 5th grade, but it combines 2 of our skills. It combines understanding decimals with understanding powers of 10 written as exponents. And so I will include that video. Please make sure you have this. There's no need to do that other one. It's just offering a challenge to those who really would like to learn something else. Okay, have a great day, and we'll be back in touch.